Bang! Neeves knives. I'm Jared, my lovely wife Kara is at work, and in this video I'm going to sharpen up some Maxamet. Now, Maxamet is supposed to be one of the hardest steels to sharpen. I personally don't think it'll be that bad. I've sharpened lots and lots of really hard steels like K390, M4, S110V, S90V, lots of steels, and I've never really had an issue with it. Personally, the K390 was about as hard as it is to sharpen S30V to me. Maybe a little bit longer. It might take just a little bit longer in time, but I feel like the biggest issue, or one of the biggest issues with people sharpening, is using the right stone. So you want to use diamonds when sharpening it. And with this specific knife, I'm going to use my Neeves diamond stones that Neeves sent me, my Neeves Dragon series. Now, the reason why you want to use diamonds and not, say, aluminum oxide is because the aluminum oxide stones you use to sharpen, it's not as hard as the carbides in the steel. So what will happen is, instead of the stone sharpening the carbides in the steel, it'll rip them out. And that's when you get carbide tear out. So you can use aluminum oxide. Like, I have no doubt that I couldn't get a good edge with aluminum oxide. You know, I have no doubt that I couldn't do it. But it would take a lot longer, and it could lead to carbide tear out. And, you know, it's just better to use the right stones for the right job. And using a diamond, diamonds are extremely hard, and they are harder than the carbides in the steel, which in return will sharpen them. So I don't really think there'll be too big of an issue sharpening it, but this is my first time sharpening Maxamet, so I guess we will find out. Now, I don't know what grit I'm going to take it to, because, you know, being the first time I've sharpened it, you know, I've heard and listened to a lot of things about Maxamet, but I'm pretty sure it wants a toothy edge. It does really good with a toothy edge. I think that's kind of the point of, you know, a Maxamet, a K390, so on and so forth. But I don't doubt that it wouldn't do really good with a mirror edge. And I'm kind of just going to let the steel talk for itself, and we'll see, you know, as I go up in grit, I'll see how it feels and how it's turning out. And I might stop it at, you know, at a low micron, because the Neeves stones use a micron rating instead of a grit rating, which it does cross over. So like the Neeves diamond stones I have, the 3/2 micron winds up being 5,000 grit. I don't know if I'll take it up that high, but we'll see, you know, we'll see how it goes. So let's get to it. So these are the stones I will be using today. We have three double-sided stones, and we will start with my lowest grit, which is going to be 160/125 micron. Now, you can use water with these, and also, let me just say that this also will work just fine with regular diamond stones. You don't need stones like this, because these are very expensive, and they are basically for elite sharpeners or people that really get into sharpening, especially people that like to sharpen these, you know, crazy steels. But you don't need them. You could use just regular diamond plates. The difference between this regular diamond plate and, say, a stone like this is diamonds are just spread across the surface of a metal plate. With this, it's diamonds that are in basically a resin, and it's all the way through and through the stone, so they don't wear out as fast, they don't dish out. The metal stones don't dish out either, but they do wind up wearing out, because once the diamonds are gone off the surface, they're gone. With these, the diamonds just keep going. So let's get to it. So with mine, I like to use soap and water, and I basically just mix a bottle of dish soap and water, shake it up. You can just use regular water, but I like how the oils and the soap raise the metal particles off the stone. It helps it to clean a little easier. Cleaning these, or through the process, you might see me using a little aluminum oxide stone. Now, this just helps me basically tear down some of the resin and expose the diamonds, because the stone isn't strong enough to cut the diamonds, but it's strong enough to cut the resin, which will help bring the diamonds up. The more aggressive of an aluminum oxide stone you use, basically the more aggressive your stone will be. I like to use a nice slick. This is very, very slick, so it doesn't cut my stones as fast. It just basically cleans them off. Now, if I use something like this, something very aggressive, it will make the diamonds more exposed, and it'll actually make the stone more aggressive. So let's get to it. Picking my angle really isn't that big of a deal. I'm pretty good at just landing right on the angle now. But if you have a problem finding your perfect angle, it's pretty, you don't really have to worry about what angle you're using so much. You need to just pick an angle and then stick with it. So if I was you, I would just get it as close as you can get to the angle that's on the edge of the knife and just run with it. If it's perfect, it's good. If it's not, who cares? Just stick with that angle. A good way to pick an angle is if this is laid all the way flat and this is all the way up, cut that in half and then go down just a little bit. That's a good angle. So far I can tell right off the bat this is a very hard steel. I can tell because I can feel the way it's cutting. But it's cutting, and that's what matters. We almost got this side done. I need a little bit more at the tip. And we got a burr all the way to the tip, but I didn't hit the back of the bevel on the tip. So if you notice right now, I've got it all pretty much, but you see that line at the top of the bevel from here all the way up? That means that I'm hitting to the edge, but I'm not hitting the back of the bevel. So my angle's up a little high, at least for the angle that's on this. So I can keep working on my same angle, or I can try to adjust to make up for the angle that's on the knife, which I will do. And I'm going to do that by, when I go across the stone, instead of the way I've been doing is like this. So I basically going like this and then lifting my wrist when I get to the tip. Instead of doing that, I'm going to lean back with my wrist. So instead of going like this, I'm going to go like this. I know that probably doesn't make sense to you, but when your hands are on the stone and you're running the blade across the stone, every movement is doing something. Whether it's leaning your wrist back, lifting your arm, you know, lifting in any way changes the angle that you're doing. So, almost got it. So what I'm doing is correct. You can also just lower your angle this way, like off the bat, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep going the way I'm going and lower my angle at the tip when I get to the tip. So when I get to right here, when I'm at the tip, I will lower it just a little bit. Man, we're so close. Super, super close. But you want to make sure you get everything on the first stone. When you get really good, you can plan ahead, but that can lead to, you know, just harder work on your next stone. So instead of putting in more work on my next stone, I'll just get it on this one. I only have a little tiny bit right behind the tip to hit left. You see it right there. Right there. I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. So now that I have a burr all the way up and down, let's flip to the other side. I have the burr on the knife, so I'm trying to knock it off before I really bring it across my stone. So I do just a light pass at first, just to knock off that burr. And now we're going to get started. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you hold your angle. It's very easy to go like this, and as you're going across the stone, lean back. And it's very easy to come back and go like this. That's usually what most people do, and they don't even realize it. And it'll end up convexing your edge. You want to make sure you're perfectly locked. Lock your wrist. Lock, even if you just have to move your body instead of your arm. Try to get it to go across perfectly angled. You feel like you're not moving and not angling, but you are. Not you specifically, but people. Let's look at it. We're looking pretty good, but I do see where my angle was moving, like I was just saying not to do. But it's looking good though. But I can see I need to help my angle out a little bit. Okay, so like a lot of spider goes, almost everyone I've ever sharpened, right here at the heel, they are deep with their grind. It's when they belt sharpen it, when they go up to the belt, they go up either at an angle or they push really hard and then go across the belt. And this part's usually very deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on that little edge really quick, and then we'll switch stones. And this is basically what I'm going to do for a little bit, and then I'm going to marry the edge back together. So I'm going to work on the heel of the blade right here, and then I'm going to go like this a few passes, and it'll help mix the edge together. Okay, now that I've got it pretty much worked out, let's switch. Now, technically, I could stop right now on the edge I have. It would be a very, very aggressive edge. But I think I'm going to go up one more stone after this. Very nice. Edge is looking very, very good. We're ready to switch. See how fast that was? These stones actually cut very fast, especially after you profile. After you profile your angle, those stones, man, they just go super, super fast. Now, not in this video, but I'm thinking about testing the ultra-fine ceramic on the Maxamet. Probably not, well, not in this video, but just as I'm testing this. Now, I wouldn't want to use the ceramic stone, which is made from aluminum oxide, technically, unless if I'm already at a very high grit and I'm just refining the edge. I wouldn't sharpen with that stone on Maxamet. So I would use it basically after a very, very high grit and use it as a finishing stone, because at that point I'm not sharpening, I'm just refining my edge. Basically just pushing some grit around and making the edge finer, not removing steel really. And if you are, it's very, very little. So I'm basically done. But what I'm going to do is now I'm going to do just a burr removal and see. A lot of people say that Maxamet doesn't give you a burr. It absolutely gives you a burr. Wipe my stone a little bit. Now with these passes, I'm doing very light passes. Before I was putting a couple pounds of pressure maybe. Now I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just letting the edge glide across the stone. And in return, it will help knock off just the tip of the edge, which is where my burr is at. And I'm ready for the I could do one more light pass. Let's strap. And I bust out the strap. I don't know how great this video will be. So with my strap, I'm starting at the tip and I'm angling down. Then as I go across, I'm going to drop. So I'm going to start with the tip, pull down, start going across the stone. Now I got to get to that belly, so I start dropping. And now I'm basically going to lift. So it's basically like this, down, up, or across, however you want to look at it. And this is the Neeves diamond compound on my strop. I've been loving the compound. I honestly haven't really been loving the strop so much. I mean, it's an okay strap. I just don't know how it's going to work out with me when I need to clean it and use it for a long term. So I'm getting my life or whatever I can out of it. It's more of a harder leather. I like a supple leather a little bit more, but everybody's different. Woo! Very, very sharp. Let's test it. I can feel it's definitely more of an aggressive edge. Because I could go up to another stone and maybe refine it just a little bit more. I mean, it'll draw S's. It's very sharp. Feels very sharp, but it's definitely toothy. See that? But that's supposed to be the beauty of this steel. Remember, this is only the first edge I've done on this, so I am going to test out different grits and different stones. Like next, I'll maybe test this edge out for a day or two, see how I like it, and then I will move to a higher grit with this same edge and see if I like it better with a little bit more of a higher grit, which I think I might. So very, very sharp. It's very toothy, man. It just wants to grab you. Like when you touch it, it just snags your skin. But it's still very fine. If I rub my nail across it, I don't feel any bumps or anything. It's nice and smooth. But to the touch, man, it's aggressive. So there you guys go. Maxamet.